had a disconnect when he was here because I was saying what I interpreted from what he said, and he was adamant to the point where he was like, I don't know if you're intentionally misinterpreting me or if it was an accident.
Yes.
And I was like, what? You can't determine what people will interpret by what you say. Everybody
Yes.
will take it from where their level is at.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's one of the risks you run when you're public or you're on the air, you're giving your views. Unless you are very blatant with it, like for instance, what just happened in that clip, right? It's left up to interpretation. So I like to listen to it just to get different views. And because, the former deputy PM would have been in parliament, I feel like it's kind of like an inside view into how they think, right? Because he will speak from a position of knowledge.
Yeah, because he's been there quite a while.
Right. So, and I learned quite a bit from the whole formation of PLP and the unity construct from listening to him.
But he was a part of it, you know.
He was one of the founding members.
Yeah, and he was he was the deputy political leader at a point in time for the PLP.
He was spilling tea.
Yeah,
no pun intended, right? So I like to listen to it, but I generally fluctuate between the talk shows just to get an idea as to what's going on out there.
Yeah, exactly, and the different points of views.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, but I couldn't help. I was like, oh my God, did he just call Azard's name?
Well,
but it was in good, because he did say that, you guys are friends and he likes to rub you.
It was in good faith, yeah.
Right, so.
Yeah, I took no qualms or any issues with it. I'm cool.
Good morning, Dr. Martin.
No issues on issues for me.
No, but it was a eventful weekend in that regard. So I don't think we're going to calm down anytime soon on the political scene. I know there's a convention coming up, too.
Yeah, well, the People's Action Movement has not announced its convention yet. The date is still to be announced. We've seen where the PLP has announced their convention date being June 27th. So it's going to be quite interesting. Two of the parties that were once together hosting their conventions, and I'm sure the persons out there would be looking and seeing what is the next move for these political organizations.
But since we're on the political topic, something that Peter said that I actually agreed with is the lack of a strong opposition, right? So I am happy to see that there are going to be conventions, because somebody somewhere has to get their act together as it relates to the opposition. Because who's going to hold the government's foot to the fire? Who's going to let the public know when they're failing? That is the job of an opposition. And if our opposition is flailing about in the ocean, then where does that leave us?
Yeah.
Right? You need balance, like you rightly pointed out this morning. It's a bike. You need balance. So you need a good and level-headed opposition as much as you need a strong working government.
Yeah.
So somebody somewhere has to get it together.
A good opposition makes for a good democratic state.
Exactly.
And a good democratic entity. Because, if you have an opposition that isn't strong, then who keeps the government's foot to the fire? Who keeps the ruling administration's foot to the fire? And so the opposition is well needed.
Right.
So a strong one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I agree with Peter with,
Yes.
because then where does it leave us? And even if you look at what's happening in other Caribbean countries, you don't want an authoritative or a dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
For instance, in Guyana, the opposition has been tormenting the government for months now since they got in, right? And I don't know if you follow politics in Guyana, but what happened is the government went in, they had a vote, and there was a whole big uproar about the vote. It went as far to the CCJ, and they finally said, okay, fine, the opposition won. So the new government was formed by what was then the old opposition, and then the former president stepped down, and then there's a new president, a new head of the opposition. Then they're fighting on the inside. Then the opposition doesn't even want to work with the president to the point where he doesn't want to shake his hands in public. And I'm just like, hello, can you focus on the issue at hand? If you're being this petty, how do you even hold the government foot to the fire? How do you even uphold them to a standard that they're supposed to carry on? some of them got thrown out of parliament. So when the bills go to parliament, they can't really fight against it or even debate against it, put forward points that the public can learn from, because guess what? They were kicked out of parliament. So my thing is, get your act together.
Yeah.
Get the opposition strong so that the people have some sort of balance, so that democracy is at play, so that the country is run properly. I just don't understand what's going on with these governments. So, you know, we need to get it sorted. But so I look forward to the conventions and to see what, you know, comes out of them. You know, new candidates, new policies, and somebody ready to get to work.
I just wanted to point out to Azard, right? And by the way, the officer is here. It's 8:26, so in 4 minutes we have Traffic Talk, sponsored by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. I just wanted to point out to you, I was thinking last week when you were on with Peter.
Yes.
Just because I wanted to tell you that just because PLP is having drama, it doesn't necessarily mean that suddenly Pam is in a better position. Pam is in a very similar position.
Hey, Pam,
in the sense of
in the sense of
disarray.
Where's the disarray? Tell me.
Well, disarray, I mean, come on. You guys had you guys
walked into ants' nest. Go
An
boldly,
ants'
friend.
No,
trust me.
Jamsa is cool, man.
No, but
Jamsa,
he,
tell
no,
me, you
but,
said
but
about
he,
disarray.
but,
What
but he
disarray
sees,
are you
he sees,
referring
but
to?
he sees what I mean. I just mean that I remember when you were arguing with Peter, you were saying, I'm not the one saying it.
Go ahead, Jamsa.
You seem to be implying that because it's like you're licking your chops, and you seem to be implying that because PLP was having this drama that it necessarily meant that Pam was in a automatically better position, when the two things are not that they're not that linked really.
No, well, I
It's
never.
two, it's like
I
two,
don't think that both are
it's
linked.
not like it's not an either or thing. It's like it's like it's a and thing, meaning PLP is having some growing pains and Pam is having some growing pains, if you want to call it that. It's not PLP is having growing pains, therefore Pam is going to win the next election, or Pam is in a much better position. You guys, everybody's going to have to fight tooth and nail.
Well, the People's Action Movement was in government. It lost the government in 2022. A number of candidates would have, lost their seats. I think like any party that has lost government and, going through a phase, it's like 7 months now, 8 months maybe, I can't remember. From August, 4, maybe around 8 months. So, like any party that has lost, there are going to be some restructuring, some changes. Not saying that there is any disarray, but some internal changes and some internal structuring, so the party could come bigger and better before. I remember that after the 2020 elections, and the Labour Party, it's a strong party, went through its restructuring as well. So all parties go through restructuring.
Yeah, that's true.
So we just have a restructure process. It's just 8 months since the election.
So technically, that's what PLP is doing to her, you could say. It's technically restructuring. So, but,
Yeah.
I just, it's like what you always say. I agree with you. I always wonder why our politics has to be so drama filled and
it's
because it's politics.
And it's
you think politics in the U.S. isn't drama filled?
I mean,
look at what's happening with our French.
I was just about to say.
Yes.
It's the same everywhere. But still, we live here, so
yes,
we have to deal with it.
Yes,
we have to deal with our version of that drama and silliness and so on.
Yeah, and we have so many characters in the game.
Look at what I just described in Guyana. You don't want to shake the president's hand. What is that gonna cause? And it's ridiculous because it's starting racial tension, because the leader of the opposition is black, the president is Indian. There's always an infighting between those two factions. So you doing that, you're doing more than just not shaking his hand.
Okay.
Right? You're starting confusion on a racial level, right?
Okay, let's save that for the last half.
It's politics is nasty everywhere. There's no getting over it.
Yeah, well said. Okay, 8:30. It's time for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. We've got Officer Henry seated, so let's go to the break and get ready for Traffic Talk.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode.
It's 8:32. It's time for Traffic Talk. It's brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance every Monday at 8:30. Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yes. Good, good. So what's the topic today?
This morning I'll be talking about mobile phones.
This is going to be good.
I know. Take it away.
While using a cell phone while driving is dangerous. When you drive, engage in any activity that takes your attention away from the road can be dangerous to you and other road users around you. Using a mobile phone while driving can be dangerous, I said, and can lead to accidents that can cause injuries or deaths. Because remember, you're driving, you're not paying attention to the road, you're being distracted, and accident can happen. Remember, anything that takes your attention from something, especially while driving, can cause accidents. And in the regulation states, a person shall not drive a motor vehicle while using a mobile telephone unless that person has complied with such condition as may be prescribed by the minister. A person who acts in a manner contrary to subsection 1 commits an offense, and this offense is liable upon summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $2,000. And if you get a ticket for using your cell phone, it's $150. You go to court and you're being fined, the magistrate can charge up to $2,000. It also went on in the 9th schedule, the Vehicles and Road Traffic Safety Regulation. No person shall use a mobile phone or other handheld devices while driving a vehicle unless that person is wearing or using a hand-free device. Even sometimes you use the hand-free device. The phone ring, you're looking to see who call you. Even you have the hand-free thing before you answer. You're being distracted because you're looking down to see who calling you before you can answer it. So even the hand-free, you can cause accidents. And even if you have the phone in your hand and you're not talking to it, as long as you have the telephone is in your hand, it's an offense.
Wow.
If you have it in any part of your body, it's an offense. Yes, the officer can say that you was using, but you have it on you, on your person. And that is also an offense, to have it. Yes, you might be driving on your phone, slipping, and you pick it up.
So are these actually in law? These are
Yes.
not just... Okay.
No. Even if you're driving, because you know sometimes you're driving, okay, the phone is on the seat, and you're press get brakes or whatever, the phone slip, you go and grab it. The officer see you,
seen an accident
you can
like
be
that.
charged for that because you have it on your person. It's not to say that you're using it because we can't say use it, but maybe you might have intention of using it. So it's an offense to have it on you while driving. I'm not saying in your pant, but in your hand or on your lap, and the officer can see it. Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Is the department satisfied with your cell phone use enforcement? Would you say that you're satisfied with your enforcement of people, adhering to the cell phone rules? Are you satisfied? You think it could be better? Could be worse? In terms of enforcement, I mean. Because the reason I'm asking is because I personally drive all the time and I see people using their cell phones. In fact, sometimes you're at a traffic stop and you know that the person, sometimes I'm walking and I'm at a traffic stop and the person in front is, because the light is red, they're on their phone. And then sometimes the people are blowing behind because, like, hey, come on, it's green, let's go.
Yes, but
also, I've passed people. Sometimes I'm driving my people and they're driving slowly. It's gotten to the point now where I go, okay, that person is probably on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that you guys need to drop the hammer on these people when it comes to the cell phones.
Well, when we catch them, they're being dealt with. It's like everything, you're not going to catch everybody. But some point in time, you're going to catch some.
I noticed that you said without permission from the minister when you were reading. So what possible permission would the minister give?
Well, if you, for instance, in the law states, if you're making a call, an emergency call to 911
Right.
or emergency service, while we can prove that, you won't be ticketed because you're calling emergency.
Sophie, we're getting calls, so whenever you're ready to take
Sure, go
calls,
ahead.
just let me know.
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm sure she's ready now.
Okay, so let's stop for a bit. So as soon as they're coming in, here we go.
Okay.
There's one.
Great.
Traffic talk. We're talking cell phone use while driving. Go right ahead.
Hello, good morning, everyone in the studio. This is Police Without Pay.
Good morning, police without pay.
Yes. Good morning.
Yeah, my superior, Henry.
Good morning.
Yeah, I want to say this to you and everybody who listening. Use of cell phone in a vehicle while it is moving, it will never stop. What they will do, they will be more cautious not to use it and get caught because they don't want no more pain in the pocket. Because everybody who got cell phone and driving vehicle, they break the law. They're driving going and they hear the phone ring, okay? You could just put down your finger and press the button, shut it off. Don't hold it, take it up in your hand to see who calling. Or they could pull aside, take it up and say, well, I was driving, so let me go now talk. Call me back in a minute or two. But law enforcers, they don't break the law by using the phone. All kind of people who got phone and driving, a lot of them do it. So that will never stop. Never, never stop while cell phone is in existence. And the motorcycle that I've been telling you about, the hours that he passes on the road with that excess noise, people in the bed lying down sleeping, Last night I heard it pass after 10 minutes past 2 o'clock. And like how down in the valley we live, you got hillside on both sides. Man, he threw back on the throttle. And I don't know how them police in town ain't hear him. And he does it deliberately. So therefore, nobody at all could see no number on that in the day, much less in the night, to catch him and give you all the number. But he will get caught by a police who concerned about his work. Because he deliberately does it.
Okay, Culture.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
you
caller.
so much
Thank
for
you,
your call.
caller.
Call us. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989, and the officer is discussing cell phone safety while driving.
Now, how often do you guys pull over persons with this cell phone issue because it's rampant, to be perfectly honest. Whenever, like Jamsa said, whenever you see someone acting weird in the road, sometimes they're swerving or they're going extra slow. I'm like, we're on the bypass. This is not the speed limit, right? You already know it's a cell phone involved.
And if you're on the bypass and you're driving, you have a shoulder there you can pull over.
Yes.
Remember, the shoulder is here for emergency. Okay, we don't know what the call is about. You pull over there and you, instead of driving, because remember I said total concentration when you're driving is good. If you lose that,
That's the end of it.
yes.
I've had people look at me crazy because I pull over to the side of the road when the phone rings. I distinctly remember an incident in Cairn.
Yes.
I was coming back from Cairn, and my phone rang, and there were 3 other people in the car. And I pulled off to the side of the road, and they looked at me like I'm crazy. I looked at them like they were crazy.
Everybody in the car
No,
crazy.
because you're saving your life and theirs.
Exactly. I don't understand. And I pull over whenever myself, or I either pull over, or I just ignore it until I get to where I'm going. I mean,
Right.
is it going to kill me to wait 10 minutes?
Because you can always
To-
look
to
back and see
answer-
who is calling.
Exactly.
But it's not even just the call, it's the texting while you're
Yes,
driving. The
yes.
texting while you're driving.
Wow.
I feel like that
Talk
is
about high-
worse.
Talk about high-functioning fools.
You just wild this morning.
Jamsa using usually that term is high functioning persons who suffering from depression, what you call it, high functioning depression.
Individuals, right?
Yeah, and then he swapped that word with fools.
After I spoke to him about what you say on air,
No,
right?
I mean, but you realize how much cognitive
Yeah.
power it takes to do that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
So
brain power.
you're smart and an idiot at the same time.
But yeah, I
Yes.
so the people actually have gone to court for this
Yes,
cell phone
because
thing and
they
been
won't pay the
fined.
ticket. Yes. If you give them a ticket, they don't pay it.
I
And
think
then
you
you
should come with
summons
some
them.
stats.
Call.
I'll have to check, but
Yes.
it might be difficult.
You have a call?
Okay, we have a caller.
Oh,
We lost
okay.
it.
There's another one. Wait,
Maybe the
there's another
stats
one.
will
and
make
it's
them
used.
understand.
We have another caller.
Traffic talk. Go right ahead.
Yeah. I suspect that we'll have callers for this.
Hello, traffic talk. Go right ahead.
Hey, good morning to all of you.
Hi,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And I hope all is well right now, and I wish you the best for the rest of the day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Same
Same
to
to
you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you so much.
I
Yes,
needed
you
that.
know, I think the use of the cell phone in vehicles, I think that has started in frequency just the other day, you know, because there was a time when persons were not really seeing people use their phone like that.
Yeah.
And it is troubling because it is dangerous. I remember one time I was on my way going somewhere, and I was going around a corner,
Yes.
and I saw, because I don't really drive fast, unless I am in a position where I can see way ahead. But outside of that, I don't drive like that. And I spotted the driver using the cell phone. He was coming around a corner, and when I saw it, I started edging off to the side of the road because that driver now was coming around the corner and coming off his side of the road into my direction. So I had to honk because I'm now moving off to let him know, and then his way he comes. It is a very dangerous thing. And sometimes I ask myself the question, what is it? Why drivers, when they're behind the wheel, what is it about this gadget that they cannot leave, or whatever they have to deal with, that they cannot leave until they reach home? Let me tell you, I hate to see it. I prefer to see somebody reading a book than to be behind this thing every day. I hate to see it. And some people don't even use that piece of gadget to make money. They're just spending a lot of money on it, and they're not using it to get a return on it. And the next thing, many of them, I don't know, I think they have other, what they call it there. I think there are ways in which they can speak to a person via that gadget without even holding it in their hand. Don't they have these accessories that they can use?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Right,
They
Bluetooth.
can be speaking, but their two hands are still on the road and they're still minding their business. I think they should look at the options. But I personally believe if anybody is caught that way, I believe they need to be dealt with severely. And when I say dealt with severely, ticket them harder. Let them feel. I was in a position where I couldn't get the person's number because it was coming around a corner. And I was trying to move out the way to go, I couldn't get that person's number. But I think this thing needs to be dealt with because it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. A lot of other persons like that with. Anyway, thank you very much and have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you, Paula, for that suggestion. Yes, they need to be ticketed, but things we can give them more than 150.
So we need to
Laws
raise the
can be
ticket
changed.
fees.
Yes,
yeah.
it can be changed. That's the only how we can go up. But for now, it's 150.
Wow. So I have two questions for you, right? So someone on the chat is asking if the records can be subpoenaed in a court action.
From their cell phone?
Right. Like,
Good
so,
question.
if there's an accident, can the cell phone records be subpoenaed?
Yes, once we get that information, yes, we can check the cell phones.
Oh, you guys, I didn't realize you could do
Yes,
that.
you could just apply to the subscriber and get the information.
Okay, we have two more calls. Traffic Talk, you're on the air. Hold on. It's Traffic Talk, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My question to the officer, what responsibility or obligation do the police have to motorists who appear to be in trouble? I'll give you a specific incident. A couple weeks ago, someone called me, this was late at night. Their car had a problem, and they were pulled off the road, not safely off the road. The car was in angle, because that's where it stopped, partially on the road. And they were standing at the side of the road. They were calling to say, I'm having this problem. And while he was talking to me, the person said, oh, here comes a police car. And the police car simply drove past this stranded motorist, a woman, by the way, lights flashing at 11:40 at night. And one wondered, if the police doesn't stop to help a stranded motorist, who else should be expected to? And is anyone surprised when people often refer to police cars as nothing more than police taxis used to motor police officers and traffic wardens around? So my question to you is, what obligation does the police have to assist motorists who are stranded on the road or who appear to be having difficulties on the road?
You said the person was speaking to you at the time?
I was on the telephone with the person who was standing beside the road. I then left my home and went to assist the person.
But did the person stop the vehicle? Or she was just there standing? Did she signal to the driver?
Her lights were flashing, okay? The car was at an unsafe angle, partially on the road, partially off the road. But basically, so I need to stick out my hand, a police car going by, they don't have a curiosity as to 11:30 at night as to why a car is on the road. They just drive by, it's 10:30 in the morning. I can give you a personal experience myself. Driving in Frigate Bay one day, very, very slow traffic. We were not going more than 5 miles an hour. And slowly, one car would overtake. And then there was only the car going very slowly and a police car ahead of me. And to my surprise, rather than trying to inquire why was this car traveling at 5 miles an hour on the Frigate Bay Road, the police car just overtook and went this way. And I'm thinking, really, how interesting. So my original question, we don't know, was someone in the car having a medical issue? Was the car having a problem? The police had no interest whatsoever in knowing why a car is traveling at 5 miles an hour on the Frigate Bay Road.
Yes, someone could be traveling 5 miles, as you said. We don't know if it's an emergency or the person is just cruising Remember, some people will cruise and they're driving slow.
5 miles an hour on the frigate they were in the middle of the day? Okay. Should the police have stopped the person and said, look, you're traveling at an unsafe, too slow is just as unsafe as too fast?
Yes, they should have.
A police officer and another police officer should have inquired, what is wrong? Why are you driving this slowly?
Yes, they should have, Carlo.
And I'm asking something about
the same thing with the person. Yes, the police should have stopped and find out what's the problem, why the person, especially if they were alone. If they was alone, they should have stopped and find out because, okay, you said her hazard light was on, find out the reason why she was there.
Anyhow, many things are not surprising. And one final thing. The gentleman who called earlier and said this thing will never stop. I have tested the system. Driving along Keon Street one afternoon, as I approached the police station, I saw 2 police officers standing there at the curb, chatting. And I thought, let me test this system. I picked up my phone, put it to my ear, pulled off my seatbelt. I was driving a left-hand drive car, by the way. And as I drove by, the 2 officers just waved at me as if to say hello. They were not friends. I had no idea who they were. And I thought, just as I thought, there seems to be either selective enforcement of the rules or the police can't enforce 3 rules at the same time. So you come on the radio on Mondays and you talk about tints, or you talk about flashes, or you talk about darkened headlamps, or you talk about strobe lights. But they don't seem to be able to multitask with regards to enforcing the laws. And so one doesn't expect any improvement because time after time you promise and you say you're going to do this. And as you said earlier, when we catch them, well, the number of people who ain't catch yet, one wonders, when are we going to catch up? Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Carlo. It's not everyone going to be caught. Some will and some won't get away. But when you catch them, you deal with them. It's not all over the police can be. Yes, remember we are just limited. So when things happen, yes, some will get penalized, some will get away. You said you drove up past the police officer. I don't know how that happened.
Call.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to ask Officer Henry.
Hi.
Specifically about the legislation. Now, we know that government has policies and they have legislation. Policies must be approved. Government policies must be approved by cabinet.
Yes.
But sometimes you find people trying to make up their own rules. People in the service may try to make up their own rules and call it policy.
Yes.
With regards to legislation, most people seem to think that when a law is passed in the House of Assembly, that's it. But when you go to court, they look at 2 things, the fact and the law.
Yes.
If that piece of legislation is not gazetted, then it is not law. So when police officers are speaking about law, they need to first say, if it is gazetted, once it is gazetted, it is the law. If it is not gazetted, it is not law.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlo.
Thank you for that call.
Yes.
So I have another message that was sent for the officer. There's an object in the factory roundabout. I guess it's some sort of a sculpture or a design. I'm not sure what to really call it. It's right at the top of the road there when you're trying to either come out and go into Bastille or come out and go the other way, right, by the benches. Yeah. And it is somewhat of an obstruction because you have to come very far out just to see if a bus is coming up. And we know the speed that buses drive at. So I got a message, someone saying to ask you guys the purpose and if it can be removed more or less. Just because, to be perfectly honest, I've driven there and it really is, it is an obstruction.
It is true because you have to
come too far out just to see if something is coming. And buses do not drive at a normal or regular specified speed limit, except if they're doing a tour and then they want to obstruct traffic. Well, yeah, then. So that's my grievance. Mine is the tour buses. But the message that I got was about the large concrete object in the factory roundabout. The person said that they've called more than once, and just yesterday they almost got into an accident because they are not able to see when something is coming from Bastille, or they can't see towards Bastille. So it is a bit of a danger.
Well, I have that noted, and we'll look into that and see.
I
know what you're speaking about. Yes.
To the callers, to a caller's point earlier, I've always had the feeling he kind of touched on something that always bugged me about the police force, especially the police force. In that, you get the impression, this is the impression I get, I'm not saying this is the case, you get the impression that this police service is just a job. Because I see things going on that police officers just drive by and ignore. Or you see them flouting the rules themselves. Yesterday I was walking down here to WINNFM and on Wellington Road, and I was listening to the radio as I walked down, and I heard a car come up to the stop there by Valumat, and when I looked over, it was a police squad car. And I realized that the wheels were slightly over the line where you should be, where you stop when this. So I immediately realized that he was trying to beat the light. So I looked over, I was like, okay. Yeah, this guy was trying to beat the light because the wheel was halfway over the line. And then as I continue walking, I'm thinking, you see these cops doing all sorts of things they shouldn't be doing, one. And usually, there's all sorts of things going on that shouldn't be going on that they do nothing about. They just drive past. I remember one time I drove home, and when I got to the same place you were talking about to go home, I realized, literally actually when I passed that same thing you talked about, that obstruction, I realized my headlights were off. And a police pickup just came down, and they just kept driving. So I drove up. As I passed them, I put my headlight on. I was like, but these guys didn't even... I was actually kind of disappointed they didn't stop me and say something. Because I really forgot to put my headlights on, right? I mean, we have pretty good street lighting, and sometimes you're driving and...
It's bright enough.
Yes. So I'm like, I have my headlight off, and these guys just keep driving merrily along, and like, oh, that dude, or whatever.
You dodged a ticket?
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of that where the police are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing themselves.
I wouldn't say the police, some. Not all.
Well,
but
come on,
everybody
that's
can
understood.
get blamed.
That's
Everybody
understood.
can get blamed for police
Of course, because, for instance, my grievance is these tour buses. And I know that the traffic laws apply to everyone. There's a certain speed limit in every area. That's one of the first things you learn when you go driving. Right now, where my office is located, it is in the camps area. Unfortunately, there's a guy that sells coconut water right at that corner there when you're exiting Rams. That causes half of the stops. Because people just pull over instead of turning into the street as if you're going into Beacon Heights. They just stop in the road because this coconut water is a must-have. That's one. Secondly, it's they're bypassing the bus stop and just stopping because the tourists absolutely have to see the sea view. So to hell with anybody that's behind them, we're just gonna stop because these tourists have to see this view. You guys really need to look into that.
Yes.
Oh, we have a call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Officer Henry.
Good morning.
Okay, is the main reason why blind people don't drive. Neither fly, sailboat, nor drive vehicle. Because the vehicle that you are operating, it depends on your eyes to keep it where it's supposed to go. And when someone going to take their eyes off the road and look on a phone, they may as well say they're blind. Because, and again, this $150 that they can't even give 4 people a cocktail dinner with baconet. So therefore, the people who make the law, they're making joke. It's joke they're making according to Elimat. They're supposed to put on penalty for those kind of things. Because What they going to do now? When they look down on the phone and they hit somebody, what they going to say? Oh, me, I'm sorry, sorry. The person down there, the person paralyzed. So those who make the law, I am calling on them to step up the law, not only step up, but jump up the law. And let people keep off the telephone when they move in the vehicle. Pull aside, man. They ain't going to be there for 8 hours. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, caller,
Thank you for your call and
Thank
for
you for your
reinforcing the
contribution.
point. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Sophia.
Because it takes like 5 seconds to hit somebody and get into an accident.
Give you the last word. 901.
Oh, it's already passed.
Yes, as the host, the lady host, the female host,
Candy.
she spoke about message. Yes. The biggest distraction for drivers in using the smartphone is texting.
Yeah, it's a text.
Yes, because you're texting, you can't text with your eye on the road. You have to see what you're typing. And that is a big distraction for person who use the mobile phone.
It's true.
Well said. But one thing I need to say before I go is that I don't know if most people know, most of the cars now have Bluetooth, so it means that you can pair your phone with the car.
Yeah.
You don't even have to look at the phone.
Someone said that. Someone
Yes.
in the comments did say that.
Right,
You know,
yeah, so-
the call comes up, you can see who's calling, and you can answer it, and you can speak. You don't have to touch it. So,
Exactly.
well, I must admit that I agree with the last caller that maybe if the fines are more steep, then persons will take into consideration that before they break the law. But just before you leave, I would love for you to look into that tour bus operator issue because it is becoming a nuisance.
Well, I spoke of it last week, Wednesday.
Yes.
They pull over anywhere.
Wherever.
And they don't direct the traffic.
No.
Yes, you're showing the attraction of the country. Pull over, but still, you could talk to your guests and direct the traffic. Don't
I
just
feel
pull over, and
like
especially in blind corners.
They need to have maybe an assigned route because not 8 o'clock in the morning, people trying to get to work, you stopping wherever to show the tourists whatever. I mean, I'm all for tourism, but geez, use the road with due care and attention, please.
You know, the level of being...
And for other road users, not for your
Yes.
own.
The level of inconsideracy is just staggering with some of these people.
I think it's worse with the passenger buses when they drop persons off at any point and they don't even try to clear the traffic before dropping off the persons. It's as though they're dropping off the persons and they want everyone behind them to wait.
That's the only thing that matters, putting this person off at this exact point.
Yeah, but we have bus stops.
Let me ask you a question before you go. I was walking down this morning. I saw a bus. The bus flew past some cars and then they stopped just by the Valleymat, by the Hunsford's
Yes.
showroom, right? To put off someone. And I'm thinking...
That's
The
not
bus,
a bus
and
stop.
the bus stop is like a few
Yes.
stops away.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I said, but was it going to kill this bus driver or this
To
lady
wait.
to go
to the bus stop.
the bus stop and walk up?
Granted that they are the passengers who would make noise.
Yeah, but then if you're going to get a ticket, then are you going to let the passenger make noise or are you going to pay the ticket?
Exactly.
Because
The
it's getting
passengers who are
overbearing.
making the noise.
Yeah, it's getting overbearing.
To my point about you guys just leaving a lot of money on the table. have a cop down there
Ticket them,
and
yes.
ticket them. I mean,
If a cop is there, they're not going to stop.
Yeah, they're
They're
not.
going to do what they have to do.
So ticket them.
Yeah, but then
Simple.
we can't put police officers everywhere.
So are you guys recruiting? Because we need more, especially by that thing that is not a stop at KFC. How many more persons gonna get hit before y'all actually paint it over
It
or
was
put
painted the other day.
It was. Right now
Yeah.
it's white.
KFC?
Right in front of KFC on the Bay Road.
They will have to resurface
Yeah,
there to get it
people
out because
keep crossing there, and when you don't stop for them, they're arguing with you. You know,
They use it as if it's a crossing. It's
I don't
not a
understand.
crossing.
I'm usually
it is
like
not a
go
crossing,
to the
but it's
crossing,
there,
go to the
but
crossing.
For now, it's only two, but it's white, and people will think,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
Sophie, let's take one more call.
Hopefully, if somebody gets knocked down, they don't come and make noise.
905, but go.
Hello, good morning.
Caller, go ahead. You're the last caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I must say thanks very much for you accepting my call after such time expired. However, is that Jumpster on the radio? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Jumpster.
Is this Leo?
I want to share with you what your experience speaking about that police officer wheel above the line.
Okay.
It happens so frequently because police allow people to break the law. And I must emphasize that. I explained this to you for you to understand better. The Wellington gas station, Hartford, when you come out facing the shop that sell the accessories, you cannot turn right onto Wellington Road. I saw a police officer wait in line. When the light was green, stop for somebody to turn right to go into the lane to go up the road. Could you believe that? So what you said is obviously so true. Without any other explanation, the police allow people to break the law. And I sure bet if they see someone crossing the condemned pedestrian crossing from KFC to the Chinese grocery store, they will stop, let them cross the street, and this is not a crossing. Have a good day. You take care. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank you, Carlo.
Okay.
Thank you.
You know, to be honest, he might not be wrong. I actually stopped one day and spoke to a crossing guard, and I said, you know, it's a concern for me. Is it possible for you guys to put someone there to prevent persons from crossing or to paint over the crossing because it's now looking white? And she was very rude to me. She said, that's not a crossing. We're not going to put anybody there. Everybody knows it's not a crossing. Just like that. And then the very next day, and I hope I don't have goat mouth in that regard,
yes.
But the very next day, that was when the first person got hit by the bread bus crossing on that same crossing. And then someone else was hit again like a couple weeks ago, like maybe last weekend or something like that.
You know, but to your point, by dint of it being there, I mean, that officer shouldn't be saying that everybody knows, because I didn't know. I thought it was still...
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I am not stopping for anybody that's crossing there.
Okay, so...
I think that this is whatever needs to be done.
I am not.
Properly.
I'm not. It's not a crossing. I'm just not.
Sophie, last word again. Last. To paraphrase Burna Boy.
Burna Boy.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was. I don't know which one. If you could have clarified, he said they came out or they let somebody turn right. I don't know if by the gas station he meant.
Yeah, I've seen crazy stuff like that.
It have a sign there that says no right turn. And if you get into an accident, they will be charged for dangerous and reckless because it is a no right turn.
Yeah.
And as soon as you approach him, before you could have reached the turn in your seat there, I don't stop for people. If I see somebody turning, I'm in my private car, I tell them that is not a turning. Even if somebody crossing down by KFC, and I'm driving, and people, I said that is you're not supposed to cross there. There's only 2, museum and social security. But for now, we have to do something about that. We painted it already, and it came back up.
Please paint it again. Thank you so much.
Yes, Sophie, that was a great show, 9:08, and we still have calls coming in, so clearly you have to continue this another time.
I think there are quite a number of traffic issues, and persons probably not aware of them.
Yes.
You know, for instance, even when you're trying to cross on a pedestrian, not because you're on the pedestrian means that you can just walk across.
And they're going to be on the
You need to stop. In the drive, make sure that the driver sees you that you want to cross.
Yes.
And then once you guys have made that basic agreement, then you cross. Not because you go on a pedestrian means you just walk across the road.
Even when the crossing guards are crossing the children, they say, wait, let me go out. Stop the traffic, and then I tell you to come. Don't just come out.
Speeding is the main cause of plenty mishaps.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Do you want to improve the quality of your water? Is buying bottled water costing you a fortune? Say no to bottled water and yes to Tap Water Caribbean and Espol Water Solutions. We offer eco-friendly filtration products such as our Ultra Filter or our Bottle Pro for at home or on the go. Fill up anywhere. We also have a Shower Pro designed to protect and give you healthy skin. Visit us today at tapwatercaribbean.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Let's drink clean, pure, healthy water together. Remember, go green, save money, and save our planet.
Now greetings to the world.
Island Tea Time, it's 9:12. We've got two representatives from the Rotaract Club, and we're going to be chatting with them. Good morning.
You take this mic, make sure it works.
Yeah,
Okay, stand by.
All right.
Yes, so good morning. We're here with some members from the Rotaract Club, and we're going to have them tell us. We know their names, but we prefer to have them introduce themselves. Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is John Napier, and I'm the president for the Rotaract Club of St. Kitts.
Awesome. And?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. My name is Justin Schwelt. I'm the district Rotaract representative for District 7030, and I'm from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thought I heard an accent.
Yes. So tell us about Rotaract. Tell us about the districts and why you're here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right. So Rotaract is a youth organization. You know about the Rotary Club, right?
Yes.
Right. So Rotaract is basically the youth arm of Rotary. For ages 18 to around 35, it's a youth arm, so it's for young adults. We are a community service-based organization that helps young people build their leadership skills, their communication skills, and these kind of things while doing community service, right? So our motto is fellowship through service. So while building all our leadership skills and doing community service, we also have a lot of fun doing it. That's why it's fellowship through service, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So District 7030 is the district that St. Kitts is in, and it actually starts from Antigua, St. Kitts, come all the way down to Trinidad and Tobago. We have the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, and then we have Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana. Make up 17 territories of District 7030, one of 539 districts in Rotary International. Right? So I am the District Rotaract representative, which you can kind of say is like the president of all 17 territories, and John here is the president of the Rotaract Club of St. Kitts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
so
stuff.
yeah, because just last week we were talking with the Toastmasters, and they were talking about their setup as well.
Right, yeah.
And you see these international organizations that are in the Caribbean and functioning, you know. I think it's a wonderful thing. And so you are here visiting in St. Kitts and Nevis. Is it that you're going to other territories within your district?
Yeah, I've actually been to most. St. Kitts might be like my 14th visit, I think.
And you said it's what, 17 countries within your district?
Territories.
So, okay then, so you have a few more to go.
Yeah, I just have Suriname, French Guyana.
Grenada.
No, I did Grenada already, but I have to go back Grenada for the Rotary Conference.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I have to go to Tobago as well for the Rotaract Conference, which is all the, we have 888 Rotaractors in our district. And once a year, we all meet in one island to have what we call a conference.
Yes.
And that's basically the culmination of the entire year, where we celebrate all the past achievements of what we've done. We train the new boards for the new year, and we give out awards and all these different things. And again, we have a lot of fun. All right, and we also do community service projects in the island. So in Tobago, we're doing our community service projects based on education and literacy for a couple of schools over there, and also to prevent conflict resolution. So those are 2 areas that we focus on a lot.
Very nice. So tell us from the St. Kitts side now, John. What's happening in St. Kitts?
Well, currently at the moment, the Rotary Club of St. Kitts is going through sort of rebuilding stage. So that's why maybe you haven't heard the most about us doing so many projects. The most that we've done, we've had a few fundraisers and we've had a few meetings. We're trying to organize some community service projects now. So we're in the process of trying to do a painting, and we also want to try to do a donation to the children's home. So we have some stuff coming through.
Nice. So what is your membership number like? Are you guys going to be doing recruitment, or is a membership drive happening right now? How's that?
All throughout the year we've been doing a membership drive, and by the way, the Rotaract year starts from July 1st, and it ends in June 30th. So basically, from the time that we've started in July 1st, we've been doing little membership drives here and there. We've recruited a few people. We just inducted 2 persons into the club in February during the DG's visit, district governor's visit. And we're supposed to actually induct another 2 members coming on Wednesday. So little by little, we're building up.
So that will take your numbers to what?
That should take our numbers up to 9.
Okay,
that's good.
That's not
That's
bad.
good.
Yeah.
But I like the whole fellowship aspect of it, right?
Must happen.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
And I noted that you said, some of the benefits of Rotaract is this whole building confidence and public speaking and giving back to the community. And I think all of those are, good values to have. It's actually one of the reasons why I'm currently trying to join the Rotary, right? Because I kind of aged out of Rotaract, right?
I'm sure, but not too much.
That's all part of the family.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I'm happy to see that young people are so active and so driven. Like you guys came in here with the energy. I was like, hey, okay, what's happening this morning? So I'm happy to see that you guys are so driven. I couldn't help but notice you said there were
539 districts around the world. So Rotary International has 1.3 million people in the organization around the world.
Membership, yeah.
In districts under 30, we have about 2,200 Rotarians and 888 exactly Rotaractors. But then other than that, there's something called Interact as well.
That's the high school level.
Yeah, right, which is ages 13 to 18. And then we have something called Early Act.
Oh, wow.
Which is the babies, right?
Did not know that.
Right?
Get them in at every angle. right? But what made you guys want to join?
Rotary. Right, so that's actually an interesting story. When I was about 21 years old, I wanted to do something to give back, but I did not know what, right? Because there's a number of issues in the world, and I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. We have a lot of problems, right? And what you find a lot of people are doing is they just go on Facebook and they complain instead of doing anything about it, right? So I said, I must be able to do something, but I know that I can't actually, eradicate poverty or get rid of crime by myself, But at the end of the day, you still have to do something. So instead of just complaining about whatever and the government and this and that. So I actually prayed about it and I asked God, show me give me an idea. What can I do? What can I do, no matter how small it is? And I was working in a company called Massey Motors, right, in Trinidad. We sell cars and car parts and everything. And while I was working, one of the other employees came up and she said, Justin, I have some barbecue tickets to sell. And I said, what's that about? She said, well, there's a club called Rotaract and we're raising funds to do community service projects. And I was like, okay, thank you, Lord.
Right.
When is the meetings? And so I went to my first meeting. But I thought it would just be, this cool group of friends who just like meeting and okay, we're gonna do this project this weekend. But it was so professionally meeting. We had an agenda. We did the national anthem. We said a prayer. We did what we call the four-way test, the Rotary four-way test, and they had people come up and speak and
sound
say.
Like she's familiar
right?
with it.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, good.
and they came up and speak and say, all right, this is the agenda for this weekend, and the project is here and here, and then they say, okay, thank you very much, and we all clapped, and then they brought up the international service director, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is serious. It's a serious thing, right? But then afterwards, after the entire meeting, we all went by the bar and we had some drinks, and I was like, okay, I really like this club.
Procedure and then fun.
And then 3 months after there was the conference like I spoke about in Guadeloupe, and I was young, I never traveled before, so I just started to work, so I said, let me go to the credit union and get a loan to go to this conference, let me live life. And then I went to this conference, and it was the same thing, right? We went and we did training, and we spoke about issues and whatever is the case, and then when the night came, it was a big party. And then the next morning, we were back in training, doing the serious things, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, this is the place for me.
I guess that's the balance.
Very balance. Very nice.
So we have a lot of fun. Yes. We have a lot of fun building leaders, basically, because by doing the community service and the international service projects, we're actually building ourselves. We're building our leadership skills. I could tell you, 10 years ago, I would never be able to come on a radio station and talk to nobody, right? I would be nervous and scared, but because of Rotaract, I've developed all these skills, and it has definitely helped me in my career as well. I'm an insurance agent in Trinidad.
Good job.
So definitely helped me. The majority of my customers is from Rotaract anyway. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's hear your story, John, because I've known you for quite some time.
It's quite similar to Justin's story. I was actually invited by my godfather to a Rotary meeting. And to summarize it, I was invited like that through my family, and I stayed for the vibes. I came and I did the same thing with the forward test. They had the lunch, and they were talking about different stuff that they were going to do. They had a little training. They had a speaker that they brought in to discuss an interesting topic, basically, just something you can learn about in the meeting. And, I pretty much stayed because of the vibes. I like the whole idea of building, getting self-development. I like the idea of doing community service. And it was a real family vibes that I really bought into. And even with the conference, we went there my first time in St. Lucia, that was 2016. And it was just pure vibes. We were going from the trainings back to having a nice party in the night, back to training in the morning, party in the night again. And we all just having fun. We did the community service, and it was really nice.
So Rotaract have vibes, boy?
He got hit in the accent.
Don't start him. But how long have you been in Rotaract?
I was inducted in 2016.
Ah.
Yeah.
You're a veteran at this point.
You can say that. Yeah. I've been around.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
But I must say that I'm happy to see that, because there's a notion that, young men have kind of fallen by the wayside, and there's no help for them, and we have a whole issue with them, taking on responsibility and basically being, good role models.
Right.
So I'm happy to see that we have 2 young men in here that are actually stepping forward, not only doing community service, but they're encouraging other persons to come on and join them and do community service. And then I love the fact that he says, it built his confidence. He's on the radio station. He's actually pretty relaxed, if you guys can see him, like real chill and just flowing.
I also like the fact that you said, that stuck out for me, that you said that rather than staying on Facebook and complaining, you could actually do something. Right? Yeah.
No matter how small the act of love and kindness you do, it kind of makes sense. The smallest act of love and kindness can actually have a ripple effect that can change the world. And we don't even realize that. Just by giving somebody a bottle of water or giving somebody a hamper or whatever the case, you can change their whole mindset. That can change that person.
Very true.
It's like, for example, here, one of our most popular events that we do, both Rotaract and Rotary, is the care package distribution.
Right.
And you can see the change and how happy it makes them and uplifts their lives. They're so happy because people don't usually do this. People don't usually come out, and just simple stuff, nice food and toiletries to help them out to get to the next day.
Right. Sometimes it's just seeing the person, because I remember I was actually at a Rotary event on Friday evening, the Rotary Club of Limega. And one of their directors was telling us this story, and it brought everybody at the table to tears. And I'm like, what you doing, man? We trying to have a little line, right? But it was so touching. You know, he said they were going around giving out these care packages, and they went to visit this woman, and she was so happy to see them because she said no one ever came to see her. You know, it's like she doesn't see people. And she had a disability where she wasn't walking on her feet. She was basically like walking on like the bone part of her ankle. So they were turned in. And he said when, you know, they went to see her to give her the care package, and they were all just hanging out with her because she was like, she didn't really want them to leave because she never got visitors. And then like 2 months after they left, she passed. Right? And so everybody at the table was kind of like so emotional, but it's just like you said, it can be a small act of kindness because it's like not even for the basket. She was just happy to have company there. Right? So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys do more in the community and hearing it. Like I've heard of Rotaract, but I must admit I've never really met one of the members. Maybe it's just because different circles, right?
I think Dominic is one.
But I'm actually
Rotaract.
Right.
Oh, he used to be in Rotaract.
Right.
Oh, so he's Rotary now.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. So as Rotaract is 35 and under. Because at one point in time I thought Rotaract was up to 30.
It was.
But then they raised the age.
Because you know the definition of youth changed. Because remember with Sniper even it's up to 35. No, and then you age out. Well, I think it was 30.
Sniper is up to 30.
30. Yeah, you age out.
It's actually when we researched it, youth is defined differently in certain parts of the world. So some places is 35, some places is 40, some places don't even have an age, it's just young adults.
I'm gonna call myself a youth. Definitely calling myself a youth. But what are some of the projects that you guys have done in St. Kitts other than the care package?
Rotaract, we've done the Canadian home visit, usually around National Heroes Day. We go to the Canadian home and we try to help the older folks feel a little better. We go cut the hair, serve them breakfast. We prepare breakfast as well before we arrive.
That's good.
Yeah, we have a few other. Honestly, I can't bring them to mind. We had a long night and
vibes.
Pure vibes.
Pure vibes on a Sunday.
Rotaract is the place to be. But it was very nice to have you guys here this morning. And if you do have a membership drive coming out, or if somebody wants to join, let them know how they can contact you guys.
You can reach out to us on our social media pages. We have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page. You can actually reach out to me. I'm allowed to give my number.
It's up to you. It's up to you. Totally up to you.
It's you.
All right, if you want to reach out to me, 763-7595, and you can reach out to us, send me a message, and I can put you on, so you can see how Rotaract operates.
Definitely. So young people, this is your opportunity to give back to the community, to make a difference. It's also a feel-good aspect. Like, do you know how nice it feels to know that you can make a difference in someone's life, a positive difference in someone's life, right? So reach out, join the Rotaract, get involved. There are a lot of community organizations that have been in existence, but people just don't know of them. Rotaract is here, and they are taking members. So contact them and sign up.
Right, yes.
All the best, guys. I do hope
Thank
that
you so
enjoy
much.
the rest of your stay. St. This is a wonderful place.
I realize.
Okay, it's 9:28. We've got Lake Health. We're going to be talking health at 9:30. Let's get a word from Tapwater Caribbean and Rams, the sponsor of our next half hour.
Radio never sounded like this.
Radio never sounded like this, sounded like this.
98.9 WIN FM.
WIN FM.
Do you want to improve the quality of your water? Is buying bottled water costing you a fortune? Say no to bottled water and yes to Tap Water Caribbean and Espo Water Solutions. We offer eco-friendly filtration products such as our Ultra Filter or our Bottle Pro for at home or on the go. Fill up anywhere. We also have a Shower Pro designed to protect and give you healthy skin. Visit us today at tapwatercaribbean.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Let's drink clean, pure, healthy water together. Remember, go green, save money, and save our planet.
Found the sound.
Say kids, drink healthy. Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
It's 9:31. We've got Lake Health coming up next. And we're going to be talking to Dentricia Blanchett. It's 9:32, and we've got Dentricia Blanchett from Lake Health, and she's going to tell us all about things we can do to mitigate against non-communicable diseases. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome. Even before I could say good morning or welcome officially, I must say I love the topic when you talk about health and wellness, because you know our health is our wealth.
Right.
And so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about the topic.
And he's a gym rat. So.
Yeah, I am.
Well, I'm excited to finally meet her because I know of your organization.
Oh,
I
really?
actually get emails from you guys because I subscribe.
That's awesome.
But I've never met you in person, so it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I know Dentry from high school days. We were actually in the same class together for 5 years. Yes.
Oh, that's why you're like Dentry.
Yes.
Like, isn't it Dentricia? And he has his own little call name.
Yes.
So the expound on what Jamsa just said. Tell us why you're here today.
So currently you know me from, well, I do two things. Because one is health, I'm in it, right?
Yes.
So I did Be Well and Bloom, and that's mental health side. But here I'm speaking about Lake Health and Wellbeing, and I'm working with them through advocacy consultancy. And we are now rolling out a campaign on health policies because there is a non-communicable disease crisis on the island.
Yeah.
And so we have to move beyond the nice events and the webinars, which we've been doing really well, and move into how can we implement policies to really help the population. So policies are, health taxes are new to us in St. Kitts. You know, we don't really think about that. When we think about taxes, we think income tax, VAT. We don't really think about taxes around health to kind of help us with our health and well-being. So we are now educating the public because we've written to cabinet, we've done the back work with the Ministry of Health so that the persons in the public cannot be shocked when these things come into being, and they can be in a position of power because they have the information. So it's a 4-part series on social media where we're breaking down the history, the benefits, the background, the NCD crisis here, what you can do as well to deal with these things that are really killing us. And when I speak about NCDs, these are like the cancers. diabetes. Mental health falls within the NCD realm as well. We see childhood obesity here in St. Kitts. It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I'm glad you touched that.
I'm glad she said what NCDs were, because I was going to ask to tell the public, when you say non-communicable diseases, which is NCDs, which she just created an acronym, tell us what some of those are. So she just listed some of them.
And I must say that when it comes to St. Kitts and Nevis, I don't think persons understand. I think that they are underwhelmed with the issue of obesity.
Right.
You look at it here, and that's an issue that we're facing. And obesity leads to so many other things.
We have a doctor that comes in here on Tuesday, and almost every disease she's touched on, one of the things that she says is obesity.
Yes.
It's something we need to fight against.
But the thing is, the statistics are startling, because it's 80% of our deaths here in St. Kitts are tied to NCDs. And that's really startling and a bit sad, because NCDs can be prevented with a lifestyle choices. So Azard goes to the gym, you might be eating your veggies, cut out the sodas and what's not. These can lower your risk. So to think about a population so small as us dying from things that we can prevent is just so sad. So that is why we are now moving beyond the advocacy, where we're educating you on how to eat better, how to drink alcohol and those things that are part of our culture. We're moving into, we now want to join the other countries who are now implementing health policies to kind of complement the work that we're doing, because the doctors can't do it alone, right? Because the doctor comes in, they talk about obesity. We only think about health when someone in our family dies or when we get diagnosed. Then we on the NCD, the civil society side, we have our, nonprofit work that we do. But there is a side where, there's a government side, where there is the tax side, the health policy side, that is nationwide, that is necessary. So we want all fronts to be on board. So we want persons to engage with the information, because we find that a lot of persons know the information in their head, but they're not convinced in their heart. So that drinking sodas is not the best.
Yeah, it's not the best.
But you've done that all your life. It's tough, right? So we want to continue having those conversations, because we want Kittitians and Nevisians to believe on a heart level, so that they can make the little changes in their lives in a very real way.
I'm glad she said that.
Too, is an issue of cost as well, because sometimes you go to the supermarket, or when you go to the supermarket, you see the cost of a soda much less than the cost of something might be less detrimental.
Maybe like a fruit juice.
Yeah, even though I'm hesitant, because even those fruit juices have
still
some
a lot of sugar.
Yeah,
but if you do it on a policy level, like you're saying, and the government increases the cost, like I think New Jersey has done that.
Yes.
Where the price of these high fructose drinks and these sodas and whatever, they cost more than water or a healthier option. If you're feeling it in your pocket, maybe you might buy the healthier option, right?
and that is what we are going to be speaking about in the campaign, because we're advocating for sugar sweetened beverage taxes. Right? So that's what you're talking about. So it's not only in New Jersey. So we have Barbados, Bermuda, Grenada just the other day. They are on board. They've passed it. It's working well. We want St. Kitts as a progressive nation to be on board. So what that looks like is that it's higher. It's the higher cost to buy unhealthy substances like juices. So you're going to think twice about buying that soda, because the water might be cheaper, right? And then it's an opportunity for those companies locally as well who provide the health, the natural juices and the water, to kind of step up to the forefront, because it's going to be in demand now. So they have another opportunity to provide more for the population. So
it works all around.
It works all around. So we know, we've looked at the case studies. We've seen how it was rolled out in Grenada, Barbados, Mexico was the first one within the region. We've seen what worked, what didn't work, and we've made recommendations to now say, this is what has happened within our region. This is what we want. So we're advocating for the sugar sweetened beverage tax. We're also advocating for front of package label warnings. That means that when you go into a store, at the front of the item, you're going to see high in sugar, high in salt. So you may not even know the fancy name for sugar and all these things, because that may not be your story. But when you see high in sugar on a product, you're going to think twice.
Exactly.
And if you make that choice, it's because you made that choice. It's not because you didn't know the information. You didn't understand what was in the ingredients. So we are advocating again for the front of label package warnings. And then we're also advocating for a school policy because our teens, children, they're eating too much.
Yes.
They're eating a lot. You know,
eating a
I
lot.
see where some schools have this all fruit snacks where
Yes.
it's not you only come to school with a fruit, and I think that's a good idea.
Right, right. I think one of the nurseries, a friend of mine was telling me on Friday that his son doesn't take juices to school. The school told them to just send water.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they've implemented that water policy. And that is so good because a lot of us, and I'm guilty, do not drink enough water.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
I you know, looking at these health things and being in the gym, it says, you know, you should get at least 3 liters of water, good sleep, and that's it.
The struggle is real. The struggle is real. But I love where you guys are headed because I always believe, and I keep saying this, that education is always the key to any and everything that you want to fix. And people think like, okay, formal education. No. The fact that you're changing the labeling and you can see it as soon as you pick it up, you'll think twice. The fact that you're going into the schools and you're educating them, and even like with our school meals, you know, give them healthier options. Don't let it just be like, yeah, you just cook whatever and you give them. Like, give them healthier options. I mean, yes, fruits are good, but then it still needs to be a balance. Because like if you're going to eat 6 apples or 6 bananas, then you're really defeating the purpose, right? So I like where you guys are going with this. Educate them, and then let's all work together to change the policy.
Yeah, and then we don't want persons to just depend on, you know, the NGOs or the government to take charge of their health. We want persons to take ownership of your health experience as well. So, you know, we're so blessed in St. Kitts where we can eat seasonal fruits because, you know, this is papa season. We can eat the papa. We can eat when it's breadfruit season, we can eat the breadfruit. There are things that we can do. We don't have to break the bank to eat healthily. A lot of people in other places in the world, they have to go so far to get healthy things because they're food deserts, right? So in St. Kitts, we know we can walk down to the market and get a little something. So we want persons to say, how can I be curious about just implementing healthier food options in my lifestyle? I may not cut out rice altogether, but I might limit the amount. I may not cut out, you know, all the sodas one time, but maybe I can try my porridge without a little sugar or my tea without sugar. Be curious, small steps.
For instance, I don't take sugar in my tea anymore. I've stopped about 3 years now.
I don't take sugar in mine either.
So the small changes, and you see the difference. You know, you can see and feel the difference.
You see the difference,
This is what. Oh, Jamsa, you were saying?
I think one of the things that needs to be that needs more earing out when we're talking about sugars and is the problematic nature of artificial sweeteners. And that's something, you know, some people think sugar-free and they think that means healthy. I mean, these things are even more problematic than sugar.
Yes, true.
And I think that this is something that needs to be given more
Have you tasted one? I've tasted like a cookie that's supposedly sugar-free, and I swear it tastes sweeter than the regular cookie.
That's correct, yes. Where are they getting the sugar from?
Exactly.
Right?
They're hundreds of times sweeter than sugar. But they create all sorts of problems. They mess with your gut biome and and
I
stuff
would tell
like that.
persons if they're having issues with weight, also if you just do a challenge, a month, the only liquid you take predominantly, let that be water. So you cut down the sugary drinks, the sugary food, and you just intake water as a substance.
Small steps.
And trust me, you'll see a lot of changes just in that. Yeah.
And we have to be mindful that sugar is also an addictive.
Yeah.
So sometimes we want to think about addictives like drugs and, you know, things of that nature, but sugar is an addictive. So you're going to go through withdrawals and it's going to be intense. You're going to crave it more. So you want to be mindful of that as well. You're going to act out of nature when you cut out the sugar. So
let me tell you.
So be realistic. Don't cut it out all the time. Next thing you know, you hurt people. Small dose.
Is it Snickers syndrome?
No. Mine is salt. I often go for like more savory snacks than sugary snacks.
Right.
And I am going through a Cheez-It withdrawal. Let me tell you.
Yes.
Oh my God. Do you need help? Do you need someone to talk
Confession. Yeah, but yeah, I like somebody's actually saying on the chat here, all things in moderation.
Right.
You know. But you can make the small steps, and it actually helps.
Yeah.
I remember like years ago, a friend of mine, she cut out sugar and starches, and she lost so much weight, and we were all amazed. And she was like, I'm going to tell you guys the secret when I've hit my goal. And then she told us, she cut out sugar, she cut out starches, and, just changed up her diet.
Yeah, diet is very important.
It's huge.
Yeah, because you are what you eat.
Right.
But I think one of the problems is that the nutrition education. I think I actually got a pretty good nutrition education at boys' school as a kid, because you're talking about cutting out starches, but all starches aren't created equal.
Right.
They're complex carbs and they're simple carbs.
True.
Yes.
And people have to understand, for example, like we were talking
That's
about
where the education
complex
comes
potatoes
in.
last week.
Yes.
And how some of these things are, the complex carbohydrates, but all these other nutrients.
Yeah.
And people have to, and then also that sugar isn't necessarily an enemy. Sugar is an ally, just like fire.
Moderation, because sugar provides that energy for you.
Exactly.
So if you're going to work out, you need that kind of energy.
You do.
But it's when the calories you burn are far less than the calories you intake.
Right.
you know?
Right. So you create a deficit. That's where the problem comes, I think, like, then Tricia said, it comes back to education.
Right.
So if we start in the schools.
Yeah.
And we gave them, like you just pointed out, Jamster, we give them that education. We let them understand that you are what you eat, right? And I think they can now make those choices. So even sometimes when the parents, because my friend says when he's trying to put stuff in his son's thing, he's like, no, Daddy, we can't carry that to school.
That's good.
It has to be water, right?
That's good.
And he's in preschool.
Yes,
right?
That's good.
So they've already trained him to think that way, and he understands the importance, right? So I think it really comes back to starting with them young and with education.
I think you really do have to start them young.
Yeah.
Because look at him schooling his father.
Right. And then now if there's a policy in place now, so even if you don't listen to the child, when you go to the supermarket, you can listen to your pocket.
Correct.
So if it's more expensive to buy the unhealthy options, please believe you're going to buy the water.
So our campaign was the You're Sweet Enough campaign. I'm guessing you would have heard about that, right?
Yes.
So we were in the schools, we were all over doing the dances and what's not. So children are great advocates for healthy living. And I know Lake Health and Wellbeing, we've recently launched It's Snack Time at the Seventh-day Adventist School. That's a pilot school where we're teaching children that there are different alternatives to snacks and not the added sugars. Like you can have your grapes and what's. They don't have to be boring. They can be fun. And children love the energetic, dramatic characters. So we've made the characters, have a little personality so that they can educate their friends and they can educate their parents.
And once it sticks in their head, that's it, right?
That's it.
Then Tricia, before you leave, it's 9:48.
Our time.
Before you leave, how can you succinctly let people know that I think one of the problems a lot of people have is that when they're buying food, they're thinking of quantity over quality. And I use this Subway. I'm going to use this Subway example as Subway as an example. I always had arguments with people about. I tell them, well, I think Subway is way healthier than some of the other choices you could have, and they go, oh, but it's so expensive. So there's the rub. So what would you say to people who, when they go to the supermarket and they want to shop healthily and they're thinking more about how long something is going to last and the cost versus the food is the medicine mindset you should probably have, where you should be looking more at quality and quantity, and of course you have to balance all of that with price. How would you
so I would say that there is a cost to the NCD crisis. There's a cost to the government because it's expensive to have hospitals and the programs. And if we have a healthier nation, that's a cost that is limited, and the monies can be financed into maybe health programs differently. We've seen countries do that. But there's a cost to our lives as well, right? And so when we realize that we are dying simply because we're not taking action, we're fearful, which is natural, we don't know, and we're losing so many of our people, we have to determine within ourselves that even if I have to, at this time, spend a little time researching the food, spend a little in the store. And I must say that that's a myth as well, because when you go to the market, it's not as expensive as going to the grocery store to buy those packaged foods. But even if I have to spend a little time preparing the food, even if I have to spend a little time talking to my children, talking to my friends, doing the research or whatever, it is worth it, because it's going to add on some more life to my years. And I think that's incredible, and it's an incredible place to start. So we get it, because there's a cost of living crisis. Let us not pretend there is a cost of living crisis, but we want to live, and we want to live healthier. And so comparing that cost of living to going to the doctor, being on all kind of things, taking medicines, I think it's worth it. And I want persons to know that you don't have to, when you get a bit older, it's not a rite of passage to get ill when you're older. You don't have to get diabetes, hypertension, cancer when you pass 40, 45, 35. It's not a rite of passage when you're getting older, right? So we want to just make sure that we're taking charge. No, we may have done things a bit differently in the past, but Lake Health and Wellbeing, we have the information there, so you can just go on our social media pages, check it out, sit with it, and reach out to us, because we know that Kitchens view, but they don't really comment and say. So we want you to say, this doesn't make sense. Or we want you to push back if there's some resistance within you. We appreciate that feedback, because it helps us when we're speaking to the Ministry of Health, PAHO, the rest. We have persons, we have data to present. And I think that is important when we're thinking about realistically rolling out policies, health policies, that will impact our health and well-being.
Then Tricia
Thank you
Blanchett,
so much for saying that.
I want you to give the URL and the number again, and the email in case people want to reach Lake Health and Wellbeing.
So I just want persons to just type in Lake Health and Wellbeing on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Type it in. There's only one of us, and you will find us. You'll find our link there. You'll find our number or email. But check it out, because we know everybody's on social. Lake Health and Wellbeing. Click that enter and look at our reels. Look at the information on SSB's health policies. Thank you so much for having me.
And they can message you guys if they have questions, right?
Absolutely.
Because
DM
there are a couple
us.
questions here right now. So I'm sure they'll reach out to you guys.
Yes.
But you guys have been doing an awesome job.
Thank you so
I follow
much.
you guys. And thank you so much for the work. And good luck with this new campaign.
We're hoping that St.
Let us
joins
know how
the
we can help.
numbers.
Yes, let us know how we can
Thank
help.
you so much.
Because
Awesome.
it's going to benefit everyone.
I see I was following already.
Yes.
Yes.
I am following too. Yeah. So you have two converts here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
You
Yes,
too.
have a good one
pleasant
today.
day.
All right.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Sardine have a new vibe. Brunswick sardine have a new. Brunswick sardine fillet. It have a new vibe. You hear what me say? Run go to your favorite supermarket or corner shop and grab a couple things today. Cause this a sitting where everybody a go like. Brunswick sardine have a new vibe. 5 different flavors for you to try. Brunswick sardine have a new vibe. Plus it boneless. Oh yes, that's right. Brunswick sardine have a new vibe. Packed with nutrition in every bite. It tastes nice. Brunswick sardine have a new vibe.
It's a 9:53 Island Tea Time, and we're back with our remaining moment.
Yes, we're here.
That was good.
Can't get my headphones to work.
Do you prefer the rabbit ears?
I know.
Yeah,
my
by the way,
headphones are misbehaving.
What happened to the rabbit ears? You guys?
Candy went home with her.
I forgot it. Here you go. We promise we'll wear them this week because we're in the run down to Easter. So
yeah,
definitely we'll be wearing the rabbit ears.
So we had a good morning so far.
We did.
Right?
You know, I'm so happy that they are in trying to push this new policy because I feel like sometimes we forget that aspect of government. You know, like everybody's just focusing on all these other laws, but we're not paying attention to the
our
health laws, right? So I found that last interview pretty interesting and timely.
You know, one of the things I wanted to ask her, but I don't know if she she would have had the time, but she alluded to the tax thing, and you know how I've said that I always think that the government needs to spend a little more time inculcating in us the idea that we have to contribute to our own increased well-being. Meaning, if we want universal health care, we should be prepared to pay more taxes. I know it's probably not something a lot of people want to hear, but I mean, like, okay, say we're paying 6.5% now. If the government came along and said, okay, we're going to increase the social services levy to, say, I'm just calling a number, 12% or 10% to go towards, we should be. I would.
The first thing that's gonna happen, everybody's gonna complain. But yeah,
but I don't know.
But it's gonna still. But the thing is, they don't see the vision. They don't see the long term.
Exactly.
Nobody likes to pay extra. Nobody likes taxes. But
I mean, social levy would affect all of us. So all of us would be affected by a higher percentage. Whereas when you look at this health tax that they're going to put on, you choose whether or not you're going to have.
Exactly.
So I think those kind of taxes, they're
easier to implement.
They're easier to implement because
it's a choice that you make. If you want to buy the soda, go right ahead and buy the soda. You'll just pay more. If you want to buy the cigarette, go buy the unhealthy cigarette.
Rather than saying social levy goes up from where it is now to double it. And then, but if you're doubling it, I expect a greater
better
service.
benefits, right?
I expect greater accountability.
I guess you could approach it that way too, like, charge higher taxes on,
on different things. Yeah. So when you choose those things, then
And like she said, Grenada just implemented it. Remember we were speaking about it. I think when Grenada implemented it, there's gonna be higher taxes on liquor and cigars and cigarettes and these sugary beverages. So we could probably take a page out of there, but we should also look to see how it's working, right? Because it may need tweaking when it comes to St. Kitts.
You guys realize we already do have pretty high taxes on tobacco and alcohol. So,
yes,
so
and people still buy them. Yeah, right. So it's your choice.
Right. So I think maybe that's the route they should go.
I think that's a safer route.
Yeah, I feel like
because if you're going to increase those things that you mentioned, greater accountability, you can't go into social services and these kind of things and not expect a bang for your buck.
Because if you're gonna pay the premium on the large cola that you drink, that you mainline every day, maybe 6 days a week, then hey,
and trust me,
have at it.
Trust me, if someone loves Coca-Cola,
they'll buy it.
they'll buy it.
And I remember when we started out this obesity campaign, and it's years ago, and I think it was somebody that we had. I don't know if it was Dr. Martin or someone else. They said, in St. Kitts, we are literally digging our graves with our teeth, and that stuck with me because it's like. It's so true if you look at the lines for fast food as opposed to persons, cooking and bringing their own lunch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you guys last week. I remember when Burger King opened, right?
Yeah.
I was working. I remember I was working. It was a Friday night. I was here working, and my wife took the kids, right? Yeah. And I told her, well, bring me a Whopper and a garden salad. Because I was really looking forward to that. Because when I was in college, I used to love buying the salads from Wendy's.
Wendy's has a nice salad.
Yeah, so she brought the salad, and then about 2 months ago, I went there.
No salad
to get a salad.
I know.
Yes,
because I was in the salon and they were all going to buy Burger King. I was like, can I get a salad? She was like,
there's no demand.
Salad.
There's no salad.
There's no salad.
Apparently, that probably didn't have an appetite
wasn't selling
in the market.
Yeah, it wasn't selling.
So that tells you speaks volumes, right?
Yeah, and I find Kittitians love chicken. Kittitians love their chicken. Yeah,
it's very true.
I think we had something because like Subway. Compared to like KFC, there's never a shortage in a way at KFC. Kittitians love their chicken. That's one thing you could say.
It'd be good to get some stats, and I wanted to ask her. She had stats.
There was something I noticed. Our tendency to not like vegetables and stuff. You realize that while it's healthy, you realize when I look at the food that the Africans eat, the continental Africans eat. They don't do the salad thing and so like us. So you could say this is something we got from our colonizers.
Inculcated, it came down.
But it's good.
So you don't think that
I only just noticed the other day.
There are people on the continent that eat salad in.
No.
in
But
Bukush?
what I'm saying, the typical, the typical dishes. You'll never see like a salad.
You know, but
it's
just
funny.
to
It's really a European thing.
Let
but
me say this,
I'm saying that neutrally, but it's a good thing. I mean,
yesterday I was watching a video with a young lady. She appears, high in color, and in her video she said that she's African. Her parents are African. As long as she's lived, she's known her roots to be in Africa. So when we talk about Africa and we talk about Africans, let us realize too that there are persons who are Africans who are not also the color of my skin or your skin.
no, they're not African. I'm sorry, not in my book.
So when I'm just
even if she was born on the continent of Africa, but she's not dark skinned, she's not African.
No,
Are you
she's
listening to yourself?
I hear myself say it all the time.
So
I'm sorry.
I brought this. I know we don't have much time, but it's controversial. So
thank you, Azard, because he's sounding crazy.
I don't even consider. I don't consider
everything. Are
I do
you
not
serious?
consider the European interlopers African. Sorry.
So when you talk,
I'm sorry.
So you talk about
they are not Africans.
So you talk about Africa and the mother colony.
They're interlopers. That's what I call them.
That they are people who are African who have lived in Africa and they don't have the same skin color.
Doesn't matter. So they're not Africans, Jamster.
So
nope.
Not that I didn't know that, but we have to realize that we are diverse people. And even in Africa,
but having said that, do you know?
So
listen,
back to the topic at
there are
hand.
Nigerians. There are Nigerians who are light skinned, and they are
Thank you.
100%. No,
so are they not Africans? Because that's what I just asked you.
No, I was talking about the Caucasian.
No, he never said she was Caucasian.
She actually.
You're talking about listen, Africans have the most.
She actually looks Caucasian.
That's what he said. He never said she was Caucasian. No, that's why I asked you. So
I was alluding
skin
to
color.
that.
Well, let's make a distinction between the Caucasian interlopers and the
Please be very specific with
Listen,
Jamster.
yes, because
she was Caucasian. She's Caucasian.
Oh
and
well,
she's African.
so she's not African.
She's
That's
lived
what I'm
there.
saying.
So I'm just trying to say.
I'm sorry, she's
we
not
have
African.
People of different
I
race.
am sorry. Well,
in
I'm not
Africa,
sorry.
from
Actually, I'm not
Africa,
sorry, but
living
she's
in
not
Africa.
African.
You understand?
Wow.
No, but what I was trying to say is, like I just said, I already said, those people are not African. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that Africans have the most diverse phenotype because that's where everyone comes from. You see that guy that
precisely. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, but wait. yes, but that's a separate issue from the interlopers from the Netherlands and so on who swarmed into South Africa.
But if we're going to go on the theory that Eve is the mother of all nations and all races, then where are you going with this?
I'm not going down that road.
The country she's from is South Africa.
Let me say what I'm saying. No.
He mentioned this South Africa, but I didn't mention that.
Yes, but wait. You guys know Ife Udoka, the guy who, you see the guy who cheated on Neil Long.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, it's like some kind of sacrilege there. But anyway, you see how light-skinned he is, right? That is a full-blooded Nigerian. So what I'm saying, there are Nigerians, especially a lot of them are in that. It has nothing to do with being Caucasian or being mixed. They are full-blooded Africans. One of the tribes there.
And so
I am very glad you clarified
your
point on that.
It has nothing to do with. Has nothing to do with the
because
Caucasian.
the way you started off, when Azard did not mention her race, he mentioned skin color before even knowing more of it.
Yeah, but he said
you shut the idea down.
But he said
no,
Caucasian.
he said no. He only said Caucasian now. Before that, he just mentioned her skin color. So you were under the impression, or that's the idea you give, that if somebody's of a lighter skin color than ours, they're not African, and that is insane to me. Because skin color does not determine.
No, I'm saying if you're an African who went there and stole the people's land, you're not an African. If you're a white person that went there and stole the people's land, you're not an African. The end.
Do you know South Africa has white persons?
Yeah,
and
but that's
they
what
are
I'm talking about. They are not Africans in my book. I'm sorry.
Okay, so okay.
Well, no, I'm not sorry.
All right, wait,
Why am I saying
hold
I'm
on,
sorry? I'm not
hold
sorry.
On. Okay,
the end. They are not
so
African.
if you're born in Africa,
I am not sorry.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this straight. You're born in Africa, but you're not black, so you're still not African. So Trevor Noah, you know Trevor Noah? I'm pretty sure you know
he's
Trevor
half
Noah.
white.
So is he African?
He's African because he's black. He's half black, so he's African. He gets
Okay,
a pass.
so you have your own measuring stick. Okay.
Yep.
Point noted.
This
is madness.
But this is interesting.
You guys know me. You guys know me to be timid about
But then
these
you
things.
have like when you go to America, and
It's
they
gonna
talk-
get
they-
into so
they-
much
you-
legal
you-
trouble,
You
right?
talk about African American. I mean, you're all Americans, aren't you? Why do you have to differentiate?
What's wrong with differentiating?
So you're basically
Are you
saying a
blind?
Chinese person, that's somebody that looks Chinese, right?
Mhm.
So their parents came here, they moved here, and they had children here. So they're now Kittian, but they look Chinese.
You have Chinese descent.
They're not Kittian?
In my book, not really.
Wow. I thought you got your nationality based on where you were born, but
Well,
hey.
there are countries. There are countries that. I mean, look at the irony of it. We have a lot of Dominicanos here, right? These people. Treat their neighborly islanders like crap.
You know, I brought up this
Right?
point to
No,
show
wait.
how complex
But
society is.
Haitians
and
are
that
born.
You can't just use
Haitians-
a one brush to paint
No, but wait.
everybody.
Haitians who are born in the Dominican Republic don't automatically get Dominican Republic national status.
Yeah, but
So-
that's
so-
a completely different
no.
topic.
The point I'm making is we seem to be aggressively charitable with our birthright as Kittitians and divisions.
But if you go in
Are
the
you
United States and
insane?
you're born in the United States,
You are an American citizen.
Yeah.
What?
You get citizenship by
birth.
birth
No.
or
No,
naturalization.
but what I am saying is it should be conditional.
On
Meaning-
what?
On what,
It should be
If I'm born here.
meaning
let me make
we
a point.
we are a small, fragile country with finite resources, and so on.
So
And
you should qualify birth. So it should be born here and.
I'm not saying.
Your xenophobia is showing.
Maybe
You might want to check it.
maybe. How is it nobody says that the Chinese and the Japanese are xenophobic?
We're not talking about them.
Those are homogeneous.
You're the one that put in out all of
but
this
it's funny.
rhetoric.
I find it interesting how especially a lot of Asian societies, they're very xenophobic. I find xenophobic to be a strong word because that's just how it is over there.
We're saying
where,
that you're born here, regardless of your race or you.
So we should just
That's where you get nationality.
we should just open up our doors and let everybody swamp us.
We're not saying that.
Whereas these
We're
other
just-
people,
we're
these
just-
other people who are xenophobic, somehow nobody wants to call
But
them
who said
xenophobic.
that? What
We didn't
you
say
just
that.
said.
We
That's
said
not what
we
we're
said
saying.
I'm
if you're-
talking about
if
the
you're
Chinese.
born
Who's
here-
more xenophobic than the Chinese and,
No,
and
no,
pretty
you're
much every
straying.
Asian
Come back
group.
to the topic. You're
No, I'm not
straying.
straying.
You are.
So
We're talking about how you get nationality.
I argue that we have more of a right to be xenophobic than these people because we were small. We were not even 50,000
You
people.
have a greater right to be xenophobic based on your
I
size.
don't even understand this at this point.
What I'm trying to say is, I mean, we
We
have
have
a
gone over
okay,
time.
maybe not xenophobic. I shouldn't use that word. We have a greater right to be more discerning about how we manage our
No
patrimony.
one is arguing that.
No, but Jamsa,
That's
if
what I'm
some- if
saying.
We
someone-
started off saying that you can be any color wherever you're born, you get the nationality of that place. And that started off because Azard was describing somebody of a lighter complexion being African, and you completely lost
I
it.
just feel like in 20 years, we're stupid enough to let a Chinese person become prime minister or an Indian person.
But if they're
or a white
Right.
person.
And on that note, I am going to say
I'm just being
thank
real.
you for listening to
I
Island Tea
am
this
just being
morning.
real.
That
I am
was a
just being real.
controversial corner.
Hey, listen, that the reverse could never happen in India or China or any one of these places.
Who's the
where one
current
of us
prime
goes
minister
over
of the,
there.
of the
But
UK?
the UK
Thank you.
has-
The UK?
Richie Sunak.
The UK have a prime
He's
minister.
Indian.
That doesn't mean anything.
He was born in
He's
the
an exception.
UK.
He's just an exception that
No,
proves
no,
the
no.
rule.
That
And do you
that
know,
just proves that you're incorrect.
And do you know that? I read an essay a few months ago about the fact that him and Sarah Braverman, who's also of East Indian descent, the essay's central theme was the fact that it's interesting that you have two East Indians, and they always seem to thrive in the Conservative Party, which is a party that tends to be xenophobic. And this same Sarah Braverman, the essay was going on to say, they thought it was ironic that she was the one, because she was the Home Secretary, she was the one responsible for crafting the present rules that said that all these boat people that were coming across from France were not going to be allowed to stay in the country. And the essayist was trying to figure out how it is that you have two Indians, two people of East Indian descent in the conservative British government, one the Prime Minister, one the Home Secretary, and here they were basically implementing what you guys would consider xenophobic.
Wait, Azard, 1 second. I'm so glad you brought that up because it now brings me to the point that you have not listened to the Sir Probin in his lecture, where the professor told us that over the 400 years, how many of our descendants traveled from this Leeward Island area to a whole bunch of different countries.
Oh, so you listened.
I spoke about it on Friday, and it shows that you still have not listened. So please go back and listen to the lecture.
James, I thought the point you were going to make with the UK Prime Minister, I thought you were going to make this point that he wasn't elected by the people of the UK.
And I don't think he will be elected, to be honest. I actually don't think.
When we made that point, I was waiting to hear
I am just saying, no, but I have to try and find that essay because you guys will find it an interesting read, yes.
I actually think that she was right. The professor, Byron Reed, was right. We've been traveling throughout these islands and continents for so long that our ancestors can be from anywhere, and we can trace our history back to our ancestors touching a whole bunch of different islands. So the whole attitude of xenophobia is basically pointless. It's null and void because you have ancestors that could be in Jamaica, in Cuba, in Santo Domingo. So what's the point in having an issue when they come here?
I take her point.
Put them in a box.
I take the professor's point, but
you can't even put Africans in a box either, Jamster.
Yeah, but at the same time,
that an African looks like this, an African acts like this, an African does
No,
this.
but wait. Here's what I'm saying. You're being a pandering politician right now. But anyway, here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. We can't. Because we're only 50,000 people, we can't allow ourselves to be overrun. We can't allow ourselves to be overrun by countries with 9 million people. That island alone, Hispaniola, that's what? That's just 18 million people? Jamaica, 3 million. Guyana, 800,000.
And I guess on that point, you guys are not going to go anywhere then. So you're going to stay in your little box in St. Kitts and you're not going to go to the Jamaica, the Guyana, or the Hispaniola.
I'm not saying that.
That is what you're saying.
I am just saying that the immigration. I'm just saying that the immigration architecture and all that should be more efficient.
I'm glad CARICOM doesn't listen to you then, and that we have free movement.
Once they come into the country legally, and once they do whatever legally, and they live here.
I hope you guys keep the same energy for Mr. Drew when he said
when
he rightly said
what he said?
He has to. They have to clamp down on the convenience marriages and so on.
He also said that we're not going to be a safe haven for drug smuggling, but at no point in time did he go to this extreme that you're going to, talking about people with 900 million population shouldn't invade St. Kitts. Like, what are you saying?
No, I'm talking about illegally.
The marriages of convenience.
Be very specific.
Look at all these boats. Look at all these boats that are showing up here. What about all the boats that's slipping through the cracks that we don't even know about?
Yeah, we have to.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what legally. And the marriages of convenience is a different topic. Because
but he never started off saying legally, by the way.
It's related.
You have to remember that you have an audience and that you have a responsibility to be very careful with what you're saying on the air.
I also have to be responsible to my people as well.
And they should not be mutually exclusive. They shouldn't.
What do you mean?
Because you never started off saying illegally. You said
what I meant to,
that country. No, we don't know what you mean because I personally didn't.
If someone
and you have to also remember that I wasn't born here. Yeah, so you need to be very careful and specific with what you're saying.
But Candy, you should know I'm talking about illegally. Look, you have all these incidents with boats showing up and stuff.
Be careful with what you're saying and say what you mean. Don't leave it for us to assume. You said countries with these 900 people shouldn't be flocking to come to St. Kitts. And you were very specific with the countries you called, Guyana, Jamaica, and Hispaniola. So, yeah.
I meant illegally. That's what I meant.
Well, please be very specific.
You guys should have known that. Come on.
So we are saying that in this controversial corner of Island to the extended period.
Extended version.
I'm throwing you guys out just now.
We're taking over spin cycle.
Never judge a book by its cover. And let's not put people in boxes.
Yeah.
Let's not try to define people as to
Find out the whole story.
Yeah.
Right? Find out
you'll
the whole
see
story.
how similar we are. And many times we are.
Man, I love the political boilerplate.
But
Go ahead.
People migrate for so many different reasons. And it's because of migration, it brings diversification to not only the culture, but to the economy of the country that they're going to. What if all Kittitians stayed here on St. Kitts? Then nobody would ever know about the Kittitian culture in any other country. Because when you move and you travel, you take that with you. You know, just as when people come here, for instance, there are a bunch of Guyanese here. They brought their culture, and it has enriched the culture of St. Kitts. Sometimes there are similarities, and sometimes there's not. But then you learn from each other. So for you to make a broad statement like that and shut down and have these stringent rules about immigration, I think it's a little bit crazy.
And for our economy to be booming and growing, we still need persons, especially when you look at small businesses.
Yes, but at the same time,
I
think the government needs to do a better job of enabling Kittitian and Nevisian entrepreneurs rather than bending over backward and breaking themselves in half to help foreigners who, by the way, most of the time don't look like us.
You think they're not enabled? We'll take up that discussion tomorrow because as a person that wasn't born here,
I'm throwing you guys out.
I am Kittitian too. So I'm Guyanese and Kittitian, and I am a small business person, and I benefit from. But I'm saying when Jamster, when you're gonna make these kind of statements, have your facts.
You still have me,
the
right?
government is still. I'll think about it. The government is still working to empower entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're gonna come to the table, come with your facts, cause we're definitely gonna hold your feet to the fire.
it was a good time here on the controversial
corner.
Get out, you two.
Extended version.
No
of
jelly
Island
beans
Tea.
for him.
Get out.
We have the spin cycle next, guys.
Okay, guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Have a good one today, everyone.
Okay. See ya.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's official. Jamsters in the building.
Getting ready to drop the bomb on ya. Black Sands Music Festival presents Knockshore Night, featuring international dancehall sensation Candisie.
Look in the mirror, say yes, I'm the best.
And Def Jam recording artist Massacre.
Only thing more worry about a feeling, lift it up and watch it sail.
Live Saturday, April 8th at Sandy Point, St. Kitts. Get your tickets online now with Jad Cash or contact 869-664-4179 for info. Black Sands Music Festival returns with Shansia
No girl can't see me and cause problem. Them a man clowns for me walk on them.
Massacre.
Start it and them a run help you walk
Plus
on.
live bands and local DJs. Knockshore Night, Easter Saturday, April 8th, a Palm Nations tour event.